This is Newcap News with Jacob Zaire.
Good evening and thank you for joining us, Jack. The Lakeland women's basketball team off to a flying start so far this year.
5-1 so far, looking to improve that record this weekend as they have a home against King's University College. We have a story on that coming up in sports.
Gerard, you know, this is kind of a good news story really, but I have to take you to task here. Where's all the snow you were talking about?
Where is all the snow? The low pressure as it passed on through, it left in its wake a gust that blew all the snow and kept it literally dumped in Edmonton. That's the truth of it here. Let's have a look at what we're dealing with today. What was supposed to come down the pike really hasn't happened, and it's really that low pressure, as well as there was a high pressure ridge too coming down from the north that just really held it over the provincial capital. So we got to a high of -17, and we've sustained that in this hour. 71% is that humidity. The winds north-northeast at 13, gusting at various points during the day up into the 20s, but the wind chill not doing us any favors. It's a similar story across Cold Lake area, just a gentle dusting. -15 is what you're looking at, and -16 in the Battlefords. There is some more on the way in terms of precipitation, but most of it has already pushed on into Manitoba. We'll talk about it in the second segment.
On Thursday, November 17th, at about 6 p.m., RCMP responded to an incident in the woods near Moose Country, 65 kilometers south of the city of Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, to attend to a male who had been accidentally shot while hunting. It appears that an American hunter was in a hunting blind. His guide quietly approached the blind and began to open the zipper, and the American hunter accidentally discharged his rifle, striking the guide in the hand. The bullet continued on into the guide's abdomen. Meadow Lake Ambulance stabilized the guide at the scene and transported him to the Meadow Lake Hospital, where he was stabilized and then via Saskatchewan Air Ambulance to the Royal University Hospital in Saskatoon to undergo further examination and surgery. The names of all parties involved are not being released at this time, pending further investigation. The town of Bonnyville is planning renovations for its seniors' lodge. With a long waiting list, the town is looking to add more units to accommodate the need. But as Clayton Brown explains, the Lakeland Lodge and Housing Board is becoming more and more frustrated with the province.
The Bonnie Lodge just celebrated its 51st anniversary, and the Lakeland Lodge and Housing Board says parts of the building need to be renovated and more units need to be added.
We need some additional rooms attached to the existing lodge to accommodate a large waiting list. We have a waiting list now of approximately 60 on the senior lodge side and 20 on the independent living side.
The cost for the first phase of the project is around $13 million. The board was expecting an announcement for provincial funding last week, but that announcement never happened.
What makes us really cross at this point is that the MLA, Ganyalescu, called me and said that the minister had signed off on this project.
Lescu says she never told Prevost the project was actually signed off on, only that the province was getting close.
We thought the deal was almost ready to be announced. But you have to understand that the minister only got the plans that morning.
Prevost can't say when the plans actually landed in the Minister of Seniors' hands, but he did say they were sent out before the announcement was supposed to be made.
We gave him schematics, and we gave him some reference as to what the cost of the entire project would be.
Lescu believes the funding will come, but it's just a matter of time.
The bottom line is it will happen. It's just we have to wait a little bit longer.
In Bonnyville, Clayton Brown, Newcap News.
Northwestern University researchers have confirmed a study stating that over 50% of all Americans will suffer from diabetes or pre-diabetes within the next 8 years. Mike Baden explains how these shocking numbers will not be the easiest issue to fix.
The amount of obese and diabetic people in the United States has been growing drastically in the past couple decades. So the American Heart Association created a 2020 strategic impact goal to reduce the amount of cardiovascular health problems by 20%, which is when Northwestern University in Chicago got involved.
And so we embarked upon this study just to say, will we get there? And so we looked back at the past 20 years and then made linear forward projections to 2020 to sort of say, you know, will we hit the 20% target if current trends continue, and we will not.
The study shows that by 2020, 83% of men and 72% of women will be overweight or obese, as well as 72% of men and 53% of women will have diabetes or pre-diabetes. In Canada, dialysis alone is $60,000 a year, which makes this disease very expensive to treat. Local physician Dr. Raf Saeed says this could cause some major problems.
If we citizens don't look after ourselves better, either they'll delist it or increase taxes, because there's no other way we can fund it.
But this issue isn't the easiest to fix. With people living busier lives, finding healthy food options is not always the most convenient.
You'd want people to have ready access to fruits and vegetables, whole grains, baked broiled fish, low salt options, but instead there's ready access to high sugar, high fat, high salt foods.
Dr. Saeed recommends at least 20 minutes of physical activity a day, as well as following the Canadian Food Guide and starting your yearly visits to the doctors at a younger age.
If a family history of diabetes you have, perhaps it's good to go and have yourself and your sugars checked a little earlier than you planned.
Mike Baden, Newcap News.